everyone, and welcome to AMC Mailbag, the all mailbag show here on AMC Movie News, where all we do is take your questions. I'm Ashley Mova, and if you've got a question that you want answered on air, you can send it over anytime to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. You could get it answered on Movie Talk or Mailbag, and sitting with me to answer some of those questions is the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, John Campea. John, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the show, everybody. So excited to get on with our Sunday mailbag.
As am I. All right, first question comes from M.A.K, and they write, my question is about movies trailers. Why do studios launch them online before they launch them into theater? I know this isn't the age where people pay for a movie just to see the trailer for Star Wars Episode 1, but for an average person, for example, he is hesitant about seeing the new Mad Max, but hearing that Batman v Superman trailer is playing in front of it will give him that extra push to go and see the movie, and that's a win for the studio. Any thoughts?
Nah, look, the purpose of trailers is to market the film. It's not to sell other movies. The purpose of a trailer is to market that movie. And that means you want to get your marketing material in front of as many eyeballs as is humanly possible. You know, back in the day, right before Phantom Menace, there wasn't internet distribution of trailers. And I still remember, like, my buddy was able to download the Phantom Menace trailer, right? But it would take like 25 minutes to download the Phantom Menace trailer and then watch it. It was kind of crazy. That was the day. But I mean, so before, if you wanted trailers out there, your best bet to get it in front of as many eyeballs as possible is get it in theaters on screens to play in front of. And it's still a great place to play your trailers because that's a movie-going audience watching it. But where you will get your most eyeballs in the shortest amount of time, in the fastest amount of time, where people can watch your trailer 8 or 9 or 10 times, is by dropping it online. That's the way to go. And trust me, there's not many movies like Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. Remember, we hadn't had a new Star Wars movie in forever. They never thought there would be another Star Wars movie. And then The Phantom Menace was coming, and that became the first time you ever really heard about people buying tickets to movies just so they could see a trailer. Then it happened a couple times after that, but that's gone now. Because people know, look, even if some studio decided we're not going to have this play in theater or have this hit online until it plays in theater first, well, why would I go buy a ticket to a movie that I don't even want to see when I know 5 hours after that movie, that trailer is going to be online anyway, where I can sit and watch it 55 times if I want. So it doesn't make sense for them in the modern age with the technology that we have. It doesn't make sense for them to hold on to it, to play it in front of a movie first. And so I totally understand it. Is it a cool experience to be in a movie, like to go see Mad Max, knowing you're going to be the first person to see the new Batman versus Superman trailer? Sure, that's a great feeling. That's awesome. But it doesn't make sense for the studio. And trust me, they do studies on this stuff. They do market research on this stuff. They will do whatever they think will make them the most money. And dropping it online in the long run is what gets them their most bang for their buck.
Is there something you miss about that camaraderie with just getting to watch the trailer with all the other people in the theater and getting that experience?
Yeah, I was one of those guys. Yeah. I was absolutely one of those guys that went to, would go to a bunch of movies just so I could see the Phantom Menace trailer. I was there. And, me, Harloff, Schnepp, we all went down to AMC Century City to watch the first 88-second Star Wars trailer, only to find out that Disney and Lucasfilm went ahead and dropped it online like an hour and a half before it anyway. I was really mad about that. So do I miss that? Absolutely I do, but I understand it. And so, I don't blame him for it.
All right. Ralph Terry writes, hello, AMC Movie Talk. Absolutely loving Phase 3. I wanted to ask, since Vince Vaughn's career is quickly going up in flames, would the only thing that saves it be the sequel to 2005's Wedding Crashers, Funeral Crashers? That's harsh.
That's a little harsh. Let me look. Your whole thing about his career going up in flames. Let's run down some of his most recent films. Unfinished Business, bomb. Delivery Man, bomb. Internship, bomb. The Watch, bomb. The Dilemma, bomb. Couples Retreat, bomb. Four Christmases, bomb. Fred Claus, bomb. The Breakup, bomb. And then Wedding Crashers.
I like The Breakup.
You know what? I kind of like The Breakup too. I didn't mind The Breakup.
I like him with Jennifer.
You know what?
Aniston.
I didn't mind The Dilemma either. I actually had an okay time with The Dilemma, but yeah, he's had a struggle. I still think he's a very funny dude. Wedding Crashers, Dodgeball. Are you kidding me? Dodgeball? Come on. Dodgeball's awesome. But before we write off Vince Vaughn's career going up in flames, let's not forget there's this little TV show called True Detective coming out that Some people, I hear whispers talking about how this season is better than last season. That's hard to imagine, considering how many people reacted so strongly, like positively, towards the first one. But him, Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams, a bunch of other people in it too. Listen, let's hold off a little bit on the declaring Vince Vaughn's career gone up in flames until that comes out. Going back to like Funeral Crashers, I'd be up for a Wedding Crashers sequel. I would. Funeral Crashers, nah. But a straight up Wedding Crashers sequel, get Will Ferrell back in there too.
Yeah.
I'd be on board for that. But I think what this might be is Vince Vaughn might do well to get away from comedies for a little while. Remember, a long time ago, before the age of Dodgeball and Wedding Crashers, a lot of people looked at Vince Vaughn as one of the next big things in the terms of dramatic acting. And then he went back into comedy and was really successful, so who can blame him that he stuck with it? But I think if this turn on True Detective does well for him, I think you're going to see his theatrical stuff be, for at least a couple of years, I think you're going to see him go more drama and see what he can do there. So let's not write off Vince Vaughn just yet.
Yeah, I think you can definitely see his range too. Even in the comedic movies, just when you see him have that like serious moment.
Yeah.
I loved him with Isla Fisher in Wedding Crashers.
Oh my God, their chemistry was so
was
good.
Insane. I love it. I would love to see them again together.
Oh, so would I. I think they had great chemistry together.
David Thompson writes, to help especially smaller independent films, could we see a return to a double bill type way of showing films, where a 30 to 40 minute short film by a new filmmaker or even a documentary would be shown, and then afterwards a film with an hour or over running time would be shown?
That wouldn't help anybody. That wouldn't help anybody. All you would do, look, here's the thing. If no one is going to go see one movie, then they're not going to go out and see it because you're playing another movie they don't want to see with it. That's, I mean, that's not, it's like, wait a minute, they're playing that awful movie? Well, at least they're playing another awful movie with it. Look, not to say that independent, look, we love independent film around here. We have an entire show dedicated to independent film. But the problem with getting people out to independent film is that you're not showing enough of them. That's not the key. So, and people don't buy movie tickets to go and see short films either. I mean, I'm not saying that's the way it should be. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's the way it is. It is. So I really don't think, I mean, look, full marks for trying to think creatively and trying to think out of the box, because more people do need to check out independent film. More people do need to invest some of their time. Take a little bit of a risk. Okay, maybe you've never heard of the director and you've never heard of those actors. Take a bit of a risk, roll a bit of the dice. People do need to check out more independent film. There's no doubt about it. But considering what are the things that are keeping people from going to see independent film, playing two of them back to back, especially if one's a short film and one's a shorter film, I don't think that's going to drive people to the multiplex on Thursday night to check it out.
I don't know why I think this is so funny.
I wish Amy Rose was here, or Alicia were here right now to answer this question. They could do it much better than I could. But look, no, it is a problem, and a problem that needs a solution. I'm just saying that's probably not the solution.
If you could set up your dream double feature, non-independent movie, what would it be?
Dream double feature. Well, considering there are 3 Star Wars movies, that wouldn't really count. A dream double feature for me might include, gosh, that's a great question. I'm trying to think of 2 great single movies, 2 great standalone single movies. I mean, because if we're going to go franchises, I'd say Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. As far as, man, great question. I don't have an answer for it. Let me think about it throughout the show. Maybe I'll come up with an answer by the end.
Shane Klestensky writes, I'm a big Disney fan, and I'm especially enthusiastic about Tomorrowland. The trailers look great. That said, is it just me, or is Disney not really putting their all into hyping this movie? I remember seeing more promotion for the Pirates movies than I've seen for Tomorrowland. I suppose it's possible that Avengers 2 might be eclipsing Clooney and co., but T-Land just doesn't seem to be getting the usual amount of promotion for a wide-release Disney film. Could this be a lack of confidence in the product? Is there some legitimacy to my conspiracy theory, or do I just need to get out more?
No, actually, there's nothing wrong with your theory or anything like that. And actually, there's there's good reason. You can make a good case about why you might suspect that. I do not think that is the case at all. I do believe Disney has a lot of faith in this property. This is Brad Bird we're talking about. This is George Clooney we're talking about. I think they got a lot of faith in it. I think you kind of answered your own question, though. Avengers is the biggest movie on Disney, all of Disney's companies' docket this year. It is by far their juggernaut this year. Disney, The Age of Ultron. Disney, woohoo! Okay, so Avengers, The Age of Ultron is by far their biggest juggernaut. We talked about this a couple weeks ago too. It is also probably the reason why you haven't seen a big, heavy push on Ant-Man marketing yet, because they don't want it to get swallowed up in the marketing for Avengers Age of Ultron, with them doing their big push on that. I believe now, as we get really close to finally getting Avengers Age of Ultron in theater, that they just dropped the new trailer. And believe me, I think as soon as day one that Avengers is in theater, maybe even a couple days before Avengers comes out, you are going to see Disney put the pedal to the metal on Ant-Man, on Inside Out, on Tomorrowland. I think you're going to see them really start to push all these properties very hard. I think they've got a plan. I think they're going to follow it. And I don't think, honestly, although, like I said, totally understandable why you would go, hey, is this a confidence issue? Totally understandable why you'd think that. But I don't think that's the case here. I do believe they believe in this film. I believe it's going to be big for them. And let's just get that Avengers beast out of the way.
Yeah. So this past week on Movie Talk, someone had sent in a question about, now that we're going to get Tomorrowland, do you think that we're going to see movies about other parts of Disneyland?
Oh, right. I remember that. Yeah.
Ray, one of our production guys, said something about, Teacup movie.
Teacup the movie.
And then I was thinking about it, like, what other Disney rides would make great movies? And he was like, a horror teacup movie. And then I started to think about this more. I'm like, that's genius. I legitimately would love to go see that. I'm so serious.
A horror teacup movie?
Yeah.
What would that movie be about?
No, like, people would be...
I'm just curious.
Right now.
I want to get a glimpse inside the mind of Ashley Bova right now.
People are at Disneyland. The teacups aren't like the scary part. They're at Disneyland, but then they're in the ride, and then the ride starts moving by itself, and then the park is closed, but they're trapped in the park. I'm so into this idea. It
looks like you're getting scared just thinking about the idea right now. Idea. Okay, I'm on board. Sign me up.
If you had to choose a ride to put into a Disney, like a movie at Disneyland, what would you choose?
I think I might have said this one too on the show. The one with the Yeti in it. Is that the Matterhorn?
The Yeti in it.
Yeah, the one with the Yeti.
Yeah,
I think that lends itself to a story right there.
Totally.
The adventures up in the mountains, the Yeti comes out. I kid you not, when I go on that ride with my wife Ann loves Disneyland.
I do too.
Like, we have annual passes every year.
Yeah, you guys do, you lucky geese.
We go all the time. And whenever, I don't know, she's scared to death of the Yeti. She's scared to death of it, but she always wants to ride that ride. And when we ride it and we go into the mountain, she starts yelling, "No Yeti, no Yeti, no Yeti," like as if this time around there won't be a Yeti that comes out of the wall. Like this time.
In my horror movie, the Yeti's not there because he's behind you. He's sitting behind you in the cart.
Okay, that's a little creepy. Does he sing "For the First Time in Forever"? Yep.
Okay, next comes from Mitchell Ellis.
Why did that just happen? I don't know.
All right, Mitchell Ellis writes, "Greetings to the AMC movie crew." Oh, God. Okay, I've been listening.
Let's pull it together.
Pull it together. I've been listening to y'all's podcast for quite some time, but right now I'm currently on deployment and I really miss the shows. And as much as I listen to your shows, this is my first question to you all. I want to know, since Batman v Superman is coming out soon, if Michael Keaton and Christopher Reeve would have came together to make the first Batman Superman movie and Tim Burton directed, what do you think the storyline would have been?
Well, first of all, Mitchell, thank you. We want to thank you for your service to the country.
Yes.
That's awesome that you do that. And thank you for watching the show. I remember, yesterday I talked about, for Star Wars fans, the dream. It was Steven Spielberg to do, and I'm going to get all geeky about it again. But I remember when Batman was out and Batman Returns was out, it was kind of the dream. Hey man, what if we did a Superman and Batman movie? And John Schnepp is the right guy for us to ask this question to, because I think I remember there being some whispers about it, about crossing those streams, the Batman and Superman. And if it had been done by Tim, what would it have been about? I don't know. And here's the thing. I have still not seen John Schnepp's movie, The Death of Superman Lives What Happened. I am very excited to see it. And I'm actually, for those of you in the LA area, on Saturday, April the 1st, I'm going to be moderating the screening at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood with
April
John
1st.
Schnepp. I believe it's
April
May 1st.
May 1st.
Thank
There
you.
you
I'm getting my time mixed up.
Yeah.
On May 1st. And so come on down. I think Schnepp said there's still tickets available for that one. So check it out and see if you can get tickets and come on down. That we're going to be at that. But I know, I've been looking at all this stuff and I'm fascinated to see Schnepp's movie. But the one thing is that when Schnepp and I talk about, we've talked about it all the time for years now. It's like, man, this movie would have been so good. And I look at all the stuff he's showing me and I'm like, man, this movie would have been such crap. This movie would have been so bad. But he thinks it would have been awesome. But I think he would be great to answer that question about, you know, were there real concrete plans? What would Tim have done with Batman and Superman together in the same thing? Seeing what Tim was going to do with that Superman movie does not give me a lot of confidence, but Schnepp thought it was going to be awesome. So, hey, let's take it for what it's worth. And maybe after I see The Death of Superman Lives What Happened, maybe I'll think the same thing. So I'm giving a lot of plugs to The Death of Superman Lives What Happened. Check that out. But anyway, so it's really hard to say. All I have to go on is what he was going to do with Superman. And it's probably, I'm pretty thankful now that it didn't happen.
When you think of Tim Burton, what is the movie that comes to your mind?
Oh gosh, here's the thing. I don't like Tim Burton.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. All my friends who are way smarter than me do.
James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, I don't. To me, and I mean this in a bad way. Like every Tim Burton film.
I mean this in a bad way.
Every Tim Burton film, you can tell within 5 minutes. If you didn't look at the credits, you would know within 5 minutes if it's a Tim Burton film because he seems to have one note that he knows how to do. That doesn't mean he doesn't have some films that have worked. Absolutely, but when I think of Tim Burton, what's really funny is there's a movie of his that I really like that all my friends who are Tim Burton fans don't like.
That must say something.
And it's his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I really appreciated his take on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think part of the reason was I think he did such a great job with the chemistry between Johnny Depp and the young kid who also starred with him in Finding Neverland. I can't remember the name of the kid at the moment, but I thought they had such a great chemistry together and it worked. And I really actually like that movie by Tim Burton. And all my Tim Burton loving friends really hate that movie.
I hate it.
Which is kind of weird. Pee-wee?
Okay.
Pee-wee wasn't bad.
Okay.
Pee-wee wasn't bad.
You don't like James and the Giant Peach? I think that just reminds me of my childhood when,
I didn't have a big positive reaction to James and the Giant Peach.
All right.
Anyway, that's just me. That doesn't mean you shouldn't love them.
Right.
You should. If you love them, you love them.
Well, before we get to this next question, I just want to warn you guys, if you are a House of Cards fan and you've not watched season 2 yet, plug your ears and mute this video until I give you the little signal to come back because there might be some spoilers in this next question. There will be spoilers in this next question. So
only for season 2, not for season 3.
Yes, only for season 2. So mute now. Here we go. This question comes from Nikita T. Writes, hello AMC. Recently I listened to a panel with one of House of Cards showrunners, and he said that while filming season 2 of the show, they tried to show in stills and set photos that Kate Mara's character was an integral part of the season. Instead, spoiler alert, she was killed in the first episode. With long slate of films ahead of Marvel, some people complain that you can't have high stakes when you know that heroes will come back in a year or two in other movies. So can Marvel consider faking announcements about involvement or non-involvement of certain actors for the sake of drama?
I think we're actually pretty, I mean, they could, and it might be kind of slick of them if they did, but I don't think it's necessary. Look, are any of you forget what Marvel has announced, okay? Forget all that. Do any of you really, honestly, deep down in your heart of hearts where you know, really expecting, Iron Man to die in Iron Man 4? They announced Thor 3 a long, long time ago. Were any of you expecting Thor to really die? Considering they don't kill anybody in this universe. They fake kill a lot of people. So why would you ever think they were actually going to kill Thor? Why would you ever think they were actually going to kill Iron Man or they're actually going to kill Captain America? I mean, so while I totally get the argument that, wait a minute, knowing that guy's coming later, well, now we know he doesn't die in the preceding movies. Yeah, but that's like saying, well, Daniel Craig is signed on for 2 more Bond films. Well, nuts. Now we know that James Bond doesn't die in the next one. Did you really think James Bond was going to die in the next James Bond movie? No. So I really don't think there's any effect there whatsoever. So I'm not worried about that personally.
What do you think of Kate Mara as an actress? I love her. I love her.
I'm a big fan of both the Mara sisters. As a matter of fact, I mean, she showed me something in House of Cards season 1 that, especially when you're considering who she was playing against, she's playing off against a Kevin Spacey who's doing some of his best work that he's done in years. And he plays such a formidable character, and she holds that screen space with him so well. One of the reasons that that my outlook on the new Fantastic Four movie shifted was specifically because of the presence of Mara. Mm-hmm. She is a solid actress, joined with like Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller and all these Academy buzz actors. Yes, I adore her. I like her. Both of those sisters. I love them both. I think they're great.
Joe Petrie writes, what's DC/WB going to do with Shazam? Billy Batson says the word Shazam and turns into the character Captain Marvel. Is DC going to rename the character so the movie-going audience won't get confused with Miss Marvel? I mean Captain Marvel from the MCU. Who is going to get the asterisk? Keep up the great work.
Well, I mean, this is a good question, but this is a question that was answered. For those of you who don't know, we have Shazam, also known as Captain Marvel, right? In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we have Miss Marvel, also known as Captain Marvel. Who's who? Actually, for a long time now, they've kind of been using, the DC character has kind of been using the word Shazam, but it all kind of became official when the New 52 came out a while ago. When the New 52 came out, there are no references to Captain Marvel anymore in DC. It's just Shazam. The character is Shazam. He's not Captain Marvel. So that pretty much answers the question straight up. The Shazam that we're going to see in the DC Cinematic Universe is Shazam. That's who he is. There is no such thing as Captain Marvel in the DC Cinematic Universe. There won't be any such thing as Captain Marvel in the DC Cinematic Universe. But we are going to get a Miss Marvel / Captain Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Really?
So there you go.
When?
Oh, yeah, she's coming.
Really?
Yeah. They actually announced that at the big Marvel announcement thing. Like, I think it's 2018 that they are doing a Miss Marvel / Captain Marvel movie. She's coming.
Man,
she's
this
coming.
Question was so confusing, and the talk about it online, it's like, no, she has to be this, he has to be this. Everyone's really passionate about this
very
question.
passionate about it, but DC abandoned the Captain Marvel name. Now they just call him Shazam.
All right. Jack Fisher writes, hey, all love the show and have been watching for over a year now. With the box office success of films like American Sniper, 50 Shades of Grey, SpongeBob, Cinderella, and Furious 7, and a lot more potentially huge films on the way, is there potential for 2015 to be the biggest year in box office history? Love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely, yes. I'll be kind of shocked and surprised if it's not. We talked the other day about, could this be the first year that has 4 $1 billion films? Never happened before. There's a reality where there could be 5. And let's not forget, Minions is going to be a monster. Minions is going to clear the $1 billion mark. Yeah. I love the Minions so much.
I love the Minions.
And we all forget that Despicable Me, I had to be reminded by one of the viewers, Despicable Me 2, folks, made $987 million. This next Minions movie is going to cross that $1 billion mark. You got potential $2 billion movies in The Force Awakens and in Star Wars Force Awakens and in Avengers. You got other huge tentpole films. You got Fast and Furious is just so great. Jurassic World is going to do well. Ant-Man's going to do well. Tomorrowland's going to do well. There's plethoras of others. Yeah, I completely agree. I do think this is going to be the biggest box office year of all time, and probably by a good margin too. I'd be surprised if it's not. I mean, it's always possible it won't be. Maybe Ant-Man underperforms. Maybe Jurassic World underperforms. Maybe Avengers Age of Ultron underperforms. Who knows? Anything can happen. But at this point, I would be surprised if it's not the biggest box office year of all time.
And who would have thought you'd ever hear SpongeBob and 50 Shades of Grey in the same sentence?
Oh my good! And look at the amount of money those films made. I mean, heavens, it's going to be a great year.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's all the time we have today. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope you guys are having a lovely weekend. Just a reminder, lots of great movies being shown in AMC theaters, so go ahead and head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theaters, showtimes, and ticket information. And if you want a podcast version of this episode, check out the description box below, and make sure to click the thumbs up up button and subscribe. Thanks to the guys in the room, Dennis and Jonathan, and thanks to John. John, where can people find you online?
You guys can follow me. And by the way, I encourage you to follow me on Facebook and Twitter because I do a lot of announcements about AMC movie news, whether it's shows and things coming up. I often will drop those announcements first on my own channel. So follow me on Twitter or on Facebook, just at John Campia.
You going to start periscoping?
Christian is driving me mad.
Now I'm kind of into it after Christian did all this today.
Christian
now I'm curious.
I'm not kidding. I was having dinner, true story. I'm having lunch with my wife at one of the restaurants, at a restaurant called Asian Box in front of the AMC Burbank 16. I'm sitting out on the patio, and who do I see walking down the courseway holding his phone like this, walking along? It's Christian Harloff walking along, blah, blah. And I stand up and yell, "Stop periscoping."
He's addicted.
And he's like, I see him walking around the neighborhoods, and I just, "Hey guys, I'm walking down."
Guy's addicted.
So let's put it this way. I think there's some really cool things you can do with Periscope. I think we will start like an AMC Movie News Periscope, where people can watch us do live some stuff from time to time, not as obsessively as Christian. And apparently
he's got, one day it's like 10 videos
apparently,
already.
He's got Alicia hooked on it too. And now he's affecting you, apparently.
He is.
But thankfully for me, I ditched my iPhone a long time ago. I use an Android, and they haven't released Periscope on Android
I'm
yet.
sure I'll give it like one day.
But it's coming soon. They already said it's probably going to be next week that's going to drop on Android. So maybe you'll be able to see us in Periscope too,
Maybe
folks.
Periscope. You guys can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ashley Mova. And happy Sunday, guys, and we will catch you next time. Bye.